Saius Reacts. Today, we are reacting to NFL 10 craziest moments in the NFL. Football is personally my favorite sport. What's your favorite sport, Nathan?
I already know basketball. Basketball since I was 0 to 100. Basketball all my life.
They hit 0 to 100. As y'all can see, there's no mystery. Favorite team in the NFL, Eagles. #1 team this year, 13-3. First seed. Skip the first round of the playoffs because we that good. And we're gonna get a Super Bowl this year. Nathan, what's your favorite football team, Nathan?
You already know I'm with the Green Bay Packers, you know what I mean?
Act.
I'm not even gonna cap. I don't even watch football.
To pay respect to the Green Bay Packers, they got their mascot live on camera. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they mascot talk too. We the best. Whoa. Oh.
And Aaron Rodgers still on the Green Bay Packers, right?
Yes, he is. He ain't retired yet.
Yeah, but yeah.
As y'all can tell, I played football before. High school.
Yeah, big minutes.
Let's get to the video!
These are the craziest moments in NFL history.
Oh, was that a bomb check?
First, it was November 22nd,
Was it on fire? I don't remember the
Sanchez
news.
versus Tom Brady. And with over 20 million people watching this primetime Thanksgiving matchup, the unthinkable happened. Because on this play, Mark Sanchez tried to scramble up the middle and collided with Moore's rear end so violently that the ball came flying out of his hands. To make matters worse, the fumble was returned by the Patriots for a touchdown. Now that's humiliating. But what's even more humiliating is the Falcons loss against the Patriots in Super Bowl 51. Trailing 28-3, it seemed almost inevitable that the Falcons were going to win. That was until Tom Brady turned into the second coming of Jesus. Despite trailing by 25, the Patriots marched back to tie the game by the end of regulation.
Bang!
From there,
every pass he was throwing was almost a pass.
However, the moments are only going to get crazier from here. And you don't even want to know what Antonio Brown did. But first, let's talk about the time an NFL game was interrupted, Cowboys versus Giants. And with less than 6 minutes remaining in the first half, a black cat ran into the middle of the field. Moments later, the cat made its way from the 50-yard line to the end zone, becoming the first cat in NFL history to score a touchdown. God damn,
best play on the Giants is that cat.
Now, this brings us to Browns and the Jaguars. And when Tim Couch completed a short pass to Quincy Morgan for the first down. However, the referees ended up overturning the call, which pissed fans off. So much so, they even started to throw beer bottles and trash cans on the field. Now that's a sight to see. But fans aren't the only ones causing chaos. Just ask security guards. From taking down streakers to kicking out crazy fans, security guards are put in some difficult situations. This includes physical temptation.
A security guard at Sunday's Chargers game masturbating in front of families and just...
But thankfully, the security guard cleared the air afterward by telling people to subscribe to the channel. Anyhow, this brings us to the time when Antonio Brown was on in practice.
Don't subscribe to Science over that. Don't subscribe to Science over me pissing his pants. If you alright?
Not over that. No. I'm saying that he was like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah, but you should also subscribe. And I was saying, oh, you should subscribe to Science. I wasn't saying he is telling you to subscribe to Science. I was saying, now that it's brought up, the subscribe button is brought up, you should subscribe to Science.
Practical jokers. See, the Bucks were trailing in the second half to the New York Jets. So naturally, Bruce Arians asked Antonio Brown to enter the game. But Brown refused to re-enter the game.
This happened last year.
Arians cut him on the spot, which obviously didn't go well with AB. because the next thing fans saw was a shirtless Antonio Brown sprinting off the field while holding up the peace sign. Kudos to Mike Tomlin for putting up with this diva for 9 years. On that note, let's appreciate the Eagles and Bears for putting up with the 1988 Fog Bowl.
Yup,
Man,
we
it
playing
was
any
worse
weather.
than wearing drunk goggles, because even meteorologists will tell you that this was the equivalent of having clouds on the ground. However, both teams toughed the weather out, and the Bears ultimately prevailed 20-12. To sum it up, it will be remembered as the best game you never saw. And speaking of unwatchable games, it's almost impossible to rewatch Super Bowl 25 if you're a Bills fan. Because with time expiring, the Bills had the opportunity to become Super Bowl champions for the first time in franchise history. All they had to do was drain a 47-yard field goal. And sadly, it proved to be the latter. Scott Norwood's kick went wide right, and the Giants became Super Bowl champions instead, leaving Bills fans in absolute disbelief. Now let's move on to an immaculate reception. It was an AFC divisional playoff game between the Raiders and the Steelers, and with 30 seconds left and a 7-3 lead, it seemed all but certain that the Raiders would prevail. However, the Steelers still had one more drive, and Franco Harris wasn't about to let them lose, because on the game-deciding drive, Terry Bradshaw threw a pass to John Fuqua, which bounced off Fuqua's hands and went straight into the hands of Franco Harris.
Crazy.
Then the next thing fans saw was Harris running with the ball into the end zone. What a legendary play. To date, we don't have camera footage to know if the ball hit the ground before Harris's catch. And while this was the craziest play in NFL history, next up we have the craziest trade in NFL history. Because this trade was the catalyst to one of the greatest dynasties in NFL history, the 90s Cowboys. It's known as the Herschel Walker trade. The trade revolved around the Pro Bowl running back Herschel Walker, who rushed for more than 1,500 yards in 1988. Subsequently, Walker was shipped to a Vikings team who believed they were one piece away from a Super Bowl. Only Walker's services didn't come cheap. It ended up costing the Vikings 5 players and 6 draft picks. The Cowboys then turned these picks into multiple cornerstone pieces, such as Emmitt Smith, Russell Maryland, Kevin Smith, and Darren Woodson. And as a result, they went on to win the Super Bowl 3 times in a 4-year span.
They traded
from
6
1993
picks
to 1996.
Yo,
on the other hand,
you don't understand how crazy that is. They traded 6 round picks. That's the dumbest trade of all time. Bro, 6? Bro, they can pick six of the best players in the draft.
So lucky. Walker only lasted 2.5 seasons with purple and gold.
He only lasted 2.5 seasons?
Rushing mark once. On top of this, the Vikings went from making the NFC Championship and the divisional round the 2 years prior to only making the playoffs once in Walker's tenure. It doesn't get much worse than that. Well, except for one other time. Because it's one thing to make bad moves, but it's another not to make moves at all. You see, it was 2003 and the Vikings held the coveted 7th overall pick. Only when the draft got to their turn, they were slow at the trigger. So much so that they missed their pick altogether. Imagine spending billions of dollars to run a football team and hire scouts, and you can't even make your pick in time. But luckily, it all worked out in the end. After the Jaguars and Panthers also beat the Vikings to the punch, the Vikings were finally able to get their act together and select future Pro Bowl offensive lineman Kevin Williams. Phew! Now that's a sigh of relief. Surely it's a one-time blunder, right? Wrong. Fast forward 8 years to 2011, and the Vikings missed their pick again. Tell me that isn't crazy.
But
not as crazy as these shoes. These cleats that got a player fined $50,000. And I know you want to hear more about that, so just click this video right here.
Well, y'all, that was NFL most craziest plays. A lot of old stuff, you know, not much new. I didn't know myself going on, but 6 picks and 5 players, bro, ain't no player in the world worth that. I don't care if it's Tom Brady. You crazy. You crazy. That's like trading 6 characters for John Lee. Now he might be worth it, but he might be worth it. You know what I'm saying?
A C6 Toma is the equivalent strength of a Zhong Li. I know you have no idea.
Like, subscribe, favorite. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Stop me! Stop me!